Hi, boys and girls. This week we are starting our unit on force, motion, and energy. I'm going to read a few pages of from the textbook for you. What are forces? Make a connection. Skydivers jump from an airplane and fall toward Earth. Do you know what makes things fall? If you said gravity, you were correct. What makes a skydiver slow down when his or her parachute opens? If you said the push of the air and the force of the air on the parachute, you would be correct. We're going to find out about how forces can change the motion of objects, what happens when forces act on one object at the same time, friction, gravity, and magnetic force. Our vocabulary is force, friction, gravity, weight, and magnetic force. A soccer player can make a ball go faster and farther by applying greater force. Pushes and pulls. A force is needed to make an object move. You apply force when you push, pull, throw, or lift an object. A force can make an object start moving, make a moving object speed up, slow down, or stop. Change the direction in which an object moves. When you apply more force to an object, the object's motion changes more. So if you look at the little girl in the picture, if she barely kicks the ball, it's not going to go very far. But if she pulls her leg back and kicks it really hard, it's going to go a further distance. So a gentle kick will make a ball move slowly and go a short distance, but a hard kick will make that ball move quickly. It will go much farther. You need to use more force to move objects with more mass. Mass is the amount of material in an object. It takes more force to start a full shopping cart moving than an empty one. That is because the full cart has more mass. So look at the pictures below. The empty cart is much easier to push than the full cart because the full cart has more mass than the empty one. So it takes more force to get it going. In the picture above, the team on the left is pulling harder, so the forces on the rope are unbalanced. The rope moves in the direction of the greater force. Many different forces can act on one object at the same time. Some forces may be stronger than others. Some may act in different directions. Net force is the combination of all the different forces acting on an object. Think of two teams playing tug of war. The way the rope moves depends on the combination of forces acting on it. When both teams are pulling the same amount, the rope does not move. That is because the forces acting on it are balanced. And when forces are balanced, the net force is zero. When one team pulls harder than the other, the rope starts moving. That is because the forces acting on it are unbalanced. So the net force is not zero. The force in one direction is greater than the force in the other direction, and the rope moves in the direction of the greater force. So name two objects that you used force to move today. Okay, Miss Bells is going to name two. I used a force to pull the door open and to push it closed. I also used a force to carry my bag to school today. The object that took me more force was my bag because it had more mass. In the picture above, you'll see they're adding oil to machine parts so they can lower friction. And then a bike tire. Some bike tires have rough tread patterns that make friction greater. The tires do not slip as much on a trail. Friction. A force called friction happens when two objects touch, roll, rub, or slide against each other. Friction acts against an object's motion. Friction can stop an object from moving, or it can slow down a moving object. The amount of friction depends on the surfaces that are touching. Rough surfaces often make more friction than smooth surfaces. That is why gravel is less slippery to walk on than smooth ice. The gravel makes more friction with the bottom of your shoes. So walking on a tile floor or a laminate floor is going to make less friction than walking on a carpeted floor. Sometimes we want less friction. It can cause machine parts to slow down and wear out. We often can lower friction by adding oil or grease. Sometimes friction can be helpful. It lets us grip things more tightly. We can make friction greater by using rough or sticky materials. So how does friction change the way things move? It slows it down. Gravity. Gravity is a force that acts between all objects that have mass. The force of gravity pulls an object towards each other. So gravity even acts across the great distances. For example, gravity keeps the planets in orbit around the sun, and it keeps the moon in orbit around Earth. Gravity is an important force. It keeps us on the ground, and it makes things fall to Earth unless something holds them up.